Hello, Singaporeans. Do you think privatization of public transport may have gone too far? PAP government should consider running the system instead. If I am not wrong, Mr. Kishore Mahbubani, Dean of Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, said, Singapore has to free itself from old economic ideas and to have political courage to make policy U-turns. Also apply in the area of public transport. We must know public transport should be a public good, but Singapore had decided that private operators were better placed to deliver such a service. Then we have to ask ourselves, over these years, why is the MRT breaking down so often? Look at all the faults and breakdowns in our MRT. Also, why are bus fare, MRT fare keep rising? We have to ask all this. First, we all can agree it is a fact that business people must make profits. They are not running a charity. Companies see big bucks to be made running private transportation. A good deal for them maybe, but for transit riders and workers, privatization can be a bad deal. Do you agree? In this business world, I think, companies are focused on competing with each other and making profits for their owners. These private companies could fail to invest in upgrading their fleets of buses, MRT trains, etc. Do you agree? I know some people may agree with privatizers that the free market is best because competition drives price down. Except in Singapore's case, I think it does just the opposite. Our fares are not getting cheaper. Privatization was introduced because of a belief in free markets and consumer choice. But public services tend to be what economists call natural monopolies, or services where competition doesn't really make sense. For example, when you take the MRT, you don't really have a choice about which one to use. There is no real market. I think private monopolies are the worst of all worlds. You don't have consumer power because you can't go elsewhere. But you don't have power as a citizen either. I believe Singaporeans will like to know, are contracts to deliver public services are agreed between private companies and the PAP government behind closed doors? And if it's so, there is very little transparency or public scrutiny. I strongly believe we need public ownership with accountability mechanisms that give us the people a say. Generally, the public sector works well when it can be cooperative and integrated, and when information can be shared. Adding private companies into the mix makes this coordination harder, which I think so. PAP government is responsible for meeting the needs of the public. But I think privatization makes less flexibility for changing circumstances. For example, if an outsourcing contract with a private company needs changing, the government may pay more to make changes or improvements, add in extras or to opt out. Don't you think so? I am worried when PAP government makes a decision to go in a direction, and when it becomes clear that it is not working, they are very reluctant to do a U-turn and do something else. Do you think this is happening in Singapore? My view is we should keep the public in public transport. Privatization is a bad deal. What do you think? Importantly, it is the business of any elected government to work for public welfare. Thus, any mass transport system that is meant to be used by the public has to be regulated so that it remains safe, efficient, accessible, affordable, and available for all, everyone. Lastly, do you think PAP government is doing a good job? I am Ben Puah from Red Dot United. Thank you.